Hey, what up, everybody? It is episode 14. You are listening to the Comic-Con podcast on Google Podcasts, Apple iTunes, Spotify, Anchor FM, and any other podcast platform out there in the universe. I am your host tonight, Justin, a.k.a. Nemesis Prime. Unfortunately, my man Zach is still MIA.
Psych!
Whoa!
Back from the depths. I'm back.
What's going on, man?
Milton the Manimal back at the Comic-Con podcast. What's going on, bro?
Hey, man, it's been a while. We really haven't talked in a good 3 weeks. I thought I was going to have to get a new co-host.
Yeah. So first off, shout out to Juan from the Comic Book Fiend Club, a.k.a. the Comic Goon. Crushed it on, episode 2 weeks ago you and him did? Yeah. That was awesome. I actually listened to that while I was gone out of town. I really enjoyed it. And then you did a little solo episode, which was good as well. And it's tough, huh? It's tough doing them solo.
Oh, yeah. It was definitely a straight run through. And, I think I edited it down to a good time where I didn't sound like a complete idiot. But, I kept myself busy while I was speaking across the multiverses to everyone out there listening to us.
Yeah. So thanks for holding it down. For those of you who don't know, I went and got myself married, so I was gone for the wedding, honeymoon, and all that, but I'm back, ready to talk comics. We'll put the marriage on the back burner for right now and get back to the important stuff, those comic books.
Nice.
Right, son?
Hell yeah, man. Thanks for, taking some time off, getting that personal stuff done,
Yeah, hell yeah.
Holding down the fort here on the podcast. So,
it's always good. It's always good to take like the personal time, but then it's like when you come back, I remember after 2 weeks, I was like, damn, dude, I haven't read a comic book in 2 weeks. It felt weird. You know what I mean? Like it didn't feel normal. So
well, you came back late last week and you're like, and when we talked, you were like, oh, I got to go to my shop and pick up, those week's comics. And I was like, it wasn't a good week of comics, but it was still some stuff to read because It was a fifth week. It was the fifth week of March. And always those fifth weeks are, typically like annuals and just like fill-in stories. There's never anything like really big that comes out for whatever reason.
And my stance on annuals.
Yes, we've gone over that before. So what do we got planned for the night, Zach?
So, as always, we're going to do a little comic book community action. We're going to talk about a question we got from our Instagram account. Then we're going to move into a couple articles dealing with, all things comic books, some comic book talk articles. We're going to talk about some movie TV news, some upcoming stuff. We're actually going to give our first thoughts, you and I, on the podcast of the first 3 episodes of Falcon and Winter Solider, which we'll talk about that. And then, of course, we're going to round it out like we always do with the books that we're currently reading, that we're enjoying, and maybe some ones that we want you guys to pick up if you aren't already reading them.
Awesome.
So let's get into this question. So this question first came on our Instagram account, which let's let's plug it here. It's the Comic-Con podcast on Instagram, which you can hit us up, drop us a DM for any questions or things that you want us to talk about on the podcast, whether it's questions or like Justin was soliciting today, drama. Give us some of that drama in the community. We will talk about it. We have no problem doing that. So this one is a question. This is from our friend Toronto. I don't know his real name, but that's his Instagram handle. So he says
Comic Stash 416. I think he's from Toronto. I don't think that's his name. So shout out to our neighbors from the north, man. Thank you so much for listening. It's not just people that are here in the States. I know people across the entire world are listening to us here on the Comic-Con podcast. So
there we go. I clicked on his profile and I just saw Toronto. So Comic Stash 416. Yeah, my bad there. So anyway, he writes, I also wanted to ask you guys, when you read, do you read issues as they come out? I find that when I read the first issue, every time the second one comes out, I've totally forgotten what the first one was about and so on. So what are your reading strategies, so to speak? Why don't you go ahead, Justin?
So it's definitely a great question. And this is something for a lot of people. And I really enjoyed his first part of the question. He said that, there's a lot of people out there and all the channels do a lot of specs. And even though we talk a little bit about specs, but nobody's really out there talking about books that they're reading. And that's what we like talking about here on the podcast, because both Zach and I read a lot of the similar stuff, but we also read a lot of different stuff, which is good because then it gets everyone like yourselves out there listening to maybe read something new. For me personally, there's 2 different ways that I read, depending on the series. So something like Batman, Spider-Gwen, Spider-Man, Venom, I can read that month to month because of the fact that I know that world. Like I could go 10 issues of not reading Batman and then pick it up randomly. And I'm like, I know these characters. I know Gotham. I know, whoever's drawing it, I know the character without them saying the name. You get an idea. Like, who the police people are. You knew who Alfred is, and anybody who's in Batman's little group. Like, you know them without actually seeing them. When I'm reading indies, I absolutely I buy every issue, and I actually wait for trade format because I cannot read that month to month, because it's like it comes out one month, the next month I'm like, oh my God, who are these characters again? What world are we in? It's very hard. So I don't know if you're like that, but that's my way of reading books, especially like Saga, Die, even with a lot of the older stuff that has ended, well, East of West ended, Deadly Class is still going on. They're on a hiatus. And that's what's tough even too. Like a lot of these issues, like that Image does, they do 5 issues, which is a story arc, and then take a break because then the trade comes out and they come back like a month or two later. So instead of like Batman or Spider-Man, they come out monthly. These are every couple of months you're getting a new story arc. So it's nice to read it all in one chunk. What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to break the mold too much from what you just said. Also, I definitely read more primarily. I'd probably say 85% of my reading comes weekly because I get so many books weekly. And yeah, I'm the same way. Like the X-Men stuff, the Avengers stuff, the Batman, the DC that I'm always reading, picking up those titles. Same shit. Like I can tune in weeks down the line and I'm good to go. Like those mainstay characters that are so easy to follow. But there are, I think you're right. It's the indie stuff that gets a little trickier because it's so much like the beginning stuff. There's so much world building. So it is tough. You're like, damn, if you get to that second issue, and you're right. Die is one of those ones. Die and Once and Future, kind of like that as well, where I felt like, dang it, I got to go back and read that first issue again to get refamiliarized with it so I can get going. So I do still read them weekly. Would I prefer to read them like in trade paperback format or fully collected? Yes, of course. But I do feel like that, like, so for example, I'm looking to my left right now and like Old Guard, when Old Guard came out on the Netflix show, I was like, damn, I've never read that. I'm going to go back and pick that shit up. So I got both the trades and crushed through them. I think there's still a third one that's supposed to be coming out, but I do kind of like reading week to week. So for example, Die is ending relatively soon, right? Like we know
they're on their final story arc.
So I'll read issue to issue like I have been. And then I've already decided I want to go back and binge read through it all over again. See the stuff that I missed. And because Die's confusing.
Oh,
Do you remember that storyline where all of a sudden they were talking about like Tolkien and like the authors and shit for a little while? Like it was weird, man. I was like, wait, what? What are we doing?
It's tough. Here? Even like you said, like Once and Future, as great as a writer that Gillian is, you read it and then you're like, wait a second, they may have talked about this in the previous issue or 2 issues back, and reading it once every 30 days because you really want to get on top of it. Once you say you read it today, and in 30 days that Wednesday comes out, that new book comes out, and you're like, I want to read it now, not because of spoilers, because it's not like that in the comic book world. I feel like for these books, but you're just so engaged in those characters and in that world that you're just like, I got to read it. Like there's always that maybe a cliffhanger at the end of that last issue. But then you're like, man, I still got to go back because I don't understand what's going on.
Yeah. And you don't want to, like, especially since like with us doing a podcast, I don't want to miss Once and Future issue, whatever, and be like, oh, I'll come back and read it. And then the internet just lights up with something crazy that happens. I'm behind the curve, I'm actually looking over here as well. And I have like a stack of dude, okay, we're going to be talking about this guy a little bit later in the show. Actually, coming up next, Jonathan Hickman. Have you read Decorum at all?
I tried to read that first
tried to
issue.
read it too, and I was like, I'm stopping. Like, I'll wait till it all come out. I think there's one more issue. The most recent issue 7 just came out last week or 2 weeks ago or something. And I had already decided after issue 1, like, yo, I'm not gonna read. I'm gonna wait till it comes out, dude. It's too crazy. Hickman's too crazy.
Oh, absolutely. It's great art. Don't get me wrong, and the story is out there, and it's what it is. You pay. I think Hickman. You pay for the amount of words.
Oh my God.
In those books. Like it's worth 100%. It's worth the whatever. If the cover price was like a $5.99 or $6.99 book that was, you got your money's worth based on how much he puts in it. Like the
pages of dialogue.
Yes.
World building. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. So hopefully that answers Comic Dash's question, how we read. So I mean, weekly. I think both of us are pretty much weekly guys. And then obviously the indie stuff. Definitely the appeal there is the collected edition, but we're both collectors at heart, so we have to have those single issues. And we both don't like having single issues sitting around not read, right? Am I the same way? I can't.
I
can't
feel the
stand
same way.
looking at a book on my desk unread. I'm like, ugh, it's just bugging me.
Because I don't want to put it. I don't want to put it in the collection and then be like, well, what
Right.
happened? And then maybe I forget that I didn't read that issue.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then I got to definitely go back and pull it out from the boxes. And
Yep.
so, yeah, definitely a great question. And for reading strategies, and I'm sure everyone has their own thing, but this is perfect. Like you said, for characters that are known and worlds that are known, it's easy to just pick up. But the indie stuff is absolutely the hardest one to read. But.
And not to like belabor the point, because I'm looking around my room right now too. Like that's just new stuff. Obviously, like old stuff, omnibus, boom. That's the best format in my opinion. Is if you want to read old stories, collected edition omnibuses obviously are the way to go. So
definitely. So shout out to the Comic Stash 416 for sending us that message on Instagram. And again, guys, you can always send us messages on our Instagrams, our personal Instagrams, or to the comiccom podcast at gmail.com. Let's move on to our comic book section. We do have an interesting article from who we were just talking about, Jonathan Hickman. And I think Zach's going to take this one.
Yeah. So if you are living under a rock and you don't know, Jonathan Hickman has been kind of controlling the world of X-Men now for, I don't know, maybe it's been about 2 years now, ever since House of X, Powers of 10 came out, and Hickman revamped the X-Men, put them all in Krakoa, brought all the mutants together, and it's been like this whole different line of X-Men than we've had before. And it's been awesome. Yeah, like everything, there's some flubs here and there. The stories, wax and wane a little bit, but I've loved it. And which maybe isn't saying much because I'm an X-Men guy in general, so I pretty much like everything. But we just got recently announced that they are kind of moving into what's going to be considered a next phase of this era of the Hickman X-Men, which will be titled The Reign of X. So got a bunch of new titles coming out here. So one of them is on sale now already. We got the Children of the Atom #1 that came out, I believe a couple weeks ago, maybe early March. And I don't want to spoil it since it's #1. It's kind of getting into it, but it's some newer characters, some younger characters that look vaguely familiar for, mainstay X-Men characters, but there's a little twist in that. We've also seen solicitations leading up to Way of X #1, which is going to be focusing on Nightcrawler, who is more or less building a religion for mutants on Krakoa. And that's going to kind of be the main topic in that, written by Cy Spurrier, who's honestly a big fan of his as well as a writer. We've also seen solicitations recently for X Corporation, which we know them from the past, kind of in like maybe the dark days of the X-Men time frame, where the Chuck Austin era, which people didn't really like very much. And X Corp is more of like a business for the mutants. It's going to be run. I think the main characters are going to be obviously Warren Worthington III, Archangel, and Monet, or AKA M. They're going to kind of be running that. So that should be really interesting. We've known those were coming for a little while. We also know in June, the next big event that's taking place is the Hellfire Gala. So the Hellfire Gala is going to be kind of interesting in a couple ways. One, it's when the vote for the final member of the X-Men gets revealed that all the fans voted for. They're also going to be doing like something like 12 titles where each issue is like a different, what's the word I'm looking for? Different vision of one time frame, the night of the gala, from a different perspective. So
that's dope.
Yeah, kind of weird, could be kind of cool, like seeing it from the different eyes of, like, I think it's 12 people. I could be completely wrong on that number.
So it's basically all one night, like you said.
All one night,
all different characters are taking it over, and what they're seeing, what they're hearing. That's really interesting.
I think it's going to be across all titles, so almost like Clue, maybe. You know what I mean? Like,
that's
so
dope.
Yeah.
Damn, that's really cool. So real quick, back to the voting. Who did you vote for, or who would have you vote for?
I voted. So I couldn't give you the whole list of all the characters, but there were some mainstay people. There's guys like, I'm trying to think of big names. Forge was one of them. I think Strong Guy was one of them from X Factor. Yep. I voted for a character who didn't get a lot of game time. I voted for an old member of the Mutant Liberation Front. Her name's Tempo, and her powers like revolve around a little bit of time travel and stuff like that. I want to see a character that I've never seen before. I want a new character to be developed. I want more of that. So that's who I voted for.
Cool.
So
yeah, I was actually just looking at the list. So you had Armor, you had Banshee, you had Boom Boom, Cannonball, Forge, Marrow, Polaris, Strong Guy, Sunspot, and like you said, Tempo.
Yeah.
which is a good list of characters. But I feel like a lot of those characters were all, older X-Force, New Mutants.
Right. X
But
Factor.
yeah, even X Factor, they're all part of. But that's what it is. They're all part of that crew. If I would have voted, I probably would have voted for Marrow. I'm a big Marvel vs. Capcom 2 guy. I liked playing Marrow in that game because before that game, I knew nothing of her.
Right.
Like, she was just like, I'm like, yo, she's cool. She's got these bones just, protruding, and you could use them as like daggers. I was like, yo, I got to find out about this girl.
Yeah, she's cool. She actually showed up in a recent issue last week for the first time. She's one of the Morlocks who's been like bopping around and stuff. And she had a big arc for a long time in X-Men. So, but Temple just never really got enough time, in my opinion. And time travel is always fun. There's so much stuff you can do with time travel. So
definitely,
it's not really time travel, I guess. She just stops time a little bit here and there. So anyway, so moving on, that's the Hellfire Gala is in June of 2021. And then so the big reveal is 3 new titles will be coming out in July, August, and September. So the first one in July is not necessarily a new title. It's just a relaunch, I'm assuming, of the X-Men #1 or X-Men line. It's currently written by Jonathan Hickmans. So that's ending. And Jerry Dugan is going to be taking that over as X-Men #1. Then we have another title that comes out in August, which is currently classified. We don't know what it is. It's written by Leah Williams, and the art is Valerio. Oh God, this is going to sound shitty. I don't know. So sorry, Pepe Larraz is also the writer or the artist for the X-Men story. Yes. So classified one, we don't know what it is. It looks like it's the something. There has been some belief that it might be the trial. There's some talk about holding Wanda accountable for the No More Mutant stuff. So maybe that might occur in that title, and we'll see. And then the third one comes out in September, which is also question marked and not revealed. But this one's actually written by Jonathan Hickman. So the artist is redacted. We don't know who the author or the writer or the artist is yet. But my belief on this one is that this is going to be the Moira X title. So they've talked about this after House of X Powers of 10, that Moira McTaggart, who was, if you read that storyline, was huge in this retcon, if you will, not retcon, but this new era of X-Men and her being a mutant. And there was talks about her getting her own series and Hickman writing it. So I'm hoping that's what that is. That's what my guess is, that it's going to be the Moira X storyline, and we can find out a little bit more about her. So a lot of stuff coming up in the X-Men universe. I'm pretty happy with this. We don't need another event. We just had, 10 of Swords, and we had all the other events. So I'm cool with it just being new titles and moving the story forward. So.
Yeah, I really like how he's doing this face thing. That's really interesting because that's something that we, haven't seen in quite a long time. And I just feel like the X-Men stuff has kind of been, I wouldn't say it's cold, but I wouldn't say it's hot. Like, nobody's really talking about it. I feel like in comic shops, I feel like, the relaunch helped, and people were all big on the House of X, Powers of X. Cross of Swords was, I would feel a lukewarm, coming in, but some of the characters that came out of that, and this whole new, I know Children of the Atom 1 got a lot of good reviews. So
yeah, you're right. I mean, the beginning of the Hickman stuff was super hot. People loved it. The Ten of Swords crossover had so much potential because it looked like it was going to be like a Mortal Kombat type, storyline. But then to be honest, it kind of like petered out a little bit. It was weird. It was more goofy than anything else. And honestly, it really just took away Apocalypse, which was one of the coolest characters in this Hickman era as being like a good guy. And now Apocalypse is gone. So
spoiler.
If you haven't read it yet, I don't know. I don't tell you. Hardcover's out, so pick that up. But anyway, so next article we got is a Sony one. You want to kick this one off?
Yeah, this one's big news, guys. This one's just dropped today. So Sony's future Spider-Man and Venom movies are going to be included in a new studios exclusive Netflix deal. So this is coming directly from thedirect.com. So right now, as you know, if you go on Disney Plus, there's a huge lineup of films that are on there for all the Marvel stuff, but there's actually 3 movies that are currently missing. And I think there's actually 4 movies that are missing. You have The Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man Homecoming, Spider-Man Far From Home, and there's Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, which of course it's not a live action, but it is missing on there. But basically that's because Disney doesn't own the streaming rights for those 4 films. So because Incredible Hulk is with Universal and Spider-Man is obviously Sony. But what's going to happen is starting in 2022, any of these Sony movies that are coming out are going to only be on Netflix. So even though you're going to have those theatrical releases this year of Spider-Man and you have Venom coming out, so those are most likely going to show up on probably on Disney Plus. But movies that are been pushed back to next year from Sony, which are big, is Morbius. You have the Into the Spider-Verse 2, which will come out at some point. At some point, like I said, but that's huge news, man. You know, we still don't have all the Marvel movies under one umbrella.
Right.
So this is going to be really, you know, again, this is them grabbing the money where they can, you know, and even though with all the stuff that Tom Holland did to get Spider-Man, you know, to be another Marvel movie and be under both basically Sony and Marvel, that's awesome. But this is some rough stuff. So now it's like if you were kind of thinking about getting rid of Netflix, even though Netflix it's still cheap, but it has been going up in price every month. If you want to watch these movies for the first time, if you don't want to see them in theaters and buy them on Blu-ray or DVD, Netflix is going to have it for a while.
Yeah, I think it's always going to be that way. Sony's never going to give up, you know, the complete control or complete piece of the pie of Spider-Man. And honestly, Marvel probably did themselves and Disney probably did themselves a disservice by bringing Tom Holland into the fold and making Spider-Man even more successful. Because can you imagine if Sony would have had another shit storm or another shit Spider-Man movie? They for sure would have lost the rights or would have given them up. But you know, Netflix. Everyone has Netflix still. I don't think anyone's like, if you only have Disney Plus and you don't have Netflix, that's kind of weird. And there's just also so many good other comic book stuff on Netflix, which we're going to talk about next as well. I mean, but we have the Mark Millar universe coming out. Like we just talked about Old Guard. You got Umbrella Academy. So you'll still get your comic book fix there, you know?
Yeah. There's something for everyone on everything.
Yeah.
You know, we're not even going to talk about Invincible tonight, guys. We're going to wait another week. So if anybody's watching that on Amazon, and Amazon has The Boys,
right?
Every streaming service has something. You know, Hulu had The Runaways and it had Cloak and Dagger. So, you know, what's next to go to Hulu? Hopefully something, you know, maybe on Image or Boom Studios or God knows where that's going to go.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff, great titles out there that could go to a lot of these streaming services.
This is off topic, but man, I'm excited to see. I want to see Boom Studios join the fray of, you know, like live action stuff. Some of their titles, I just love their stuff so much.
Yeah,
so that'd be cool. But yeah, so I mean, let's continue this vein that we're talking about here. Since we're kind of talking about Netflix, we have a trailer just dropped for a big Netflix show coming up here soon, Jupiter's Legacy. You want to talk about that guy?
Yeah, man. Jupiter's Legacy was a great comic book that came out in 2013. You know, Mark Millar and Frank Quigley did a great job on this. And this was a time that I wasn't even a big fan of Millar. I just really this is when I was kind of getting into a lot of the indie stuff, especially with Images, you know, redoing a lot of these new series that were coming out. And I think this is a perfect storyline for Netflix. And I think it's a lot of people are looking at it, and I'm sure they saw the trailer and they saw this, you know, this world where people are actually wearing costumes. And I feel like people may think it's corny, like it's like the old X-Men, like those original X-Men movies. But I feel like now in 2021, like you can have a live action show and have people actually wearing costumes, you know, not to take any away from the CW, because that's all everyone wears is a costume. But to be on Netflix and to be a real show is something that's awesome. And you have tons of great actors and actresses that I'm super excited to see, because I read this when it first came out and I haven't read it in a long time. But now that the trailer dropped, I'm absolutely going to go and reread this first series run of Jupiter's Legacy.
Yeah, I've actually never read it, and my plan is to finish it all this weekend. It looks great, dude. I mean, Josh Duhamel looks awesome. I really like him. Haven't seen him around in a while. I'm excited for this one. You know, I actually was a Mark Millar fan. I mean, well, I say was. I still am. I loved Kick-Ass when it first came out.
Yeah,
I loved that. I loved Nemesis. Kingsman was great. You know what's funny about Kingsman is my chick and I went to the movies the other day to watch Godzilla versus Kong, or Kong versus Godzilla, whatever. And they had a poster for like a Kingsman prequel. And I actually haven't even seen the second one. I was like, you know what? I haven't watched that.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So anyway, I also like Wanted. Did you read Magic Order that recently ended about? God,
I remember picking that up like a first few issues, but then I kind of dropped off on that.
I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
Mark Millar's fun, dude, because he's adult. Like people get murdered in his stuff. They're gory. It's very adult oriented. So I'm excited for this Millar verse, so to speak. And
Yeah, there's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of great actors and actresses, and it's funny. Like when I went back and I was like, well, I watched the trailer a couple times because there's a lot of quick scenes. So there's a character in there, and it's so funny that I remember the character in Jupiter's Legacy because I know like Utopian Man and like there's Blue Bolt, but there's a character name I want to say I think it's Star Fox is his name or Star Fox,
Sky Fox.
Sky Fox, that's what it is.
Yeah.
So when I saw him and I saw the emblem and I saw this actor and I was like, yo, that actor looks so familiar, but he doesn't say anything in the trailer. It's actually Matt Latner, who's Anakin Skywalker, who does Anakin Skywalker in Clone Wars. I was like, yeah, we're gonna see him in live action. I'm like, yo, that's gonna be so dope to hear his voice and see him acting. I'm so excited to see this.
So I'm totally gonna embarrass myself, but I recognized him from like, yeah, this is so embarrassing. The remake of Beverly Hills 90210, which I watched for a little while.
So. You've a chick that watches those shows. Mine doesn't, I guess.
it was a long time ago though. So
I'm either like Clone Wars for him, or he did Aquaman's voice in like the new 52 DC movies.
Oh, nice. Yeah, dude. So did they give a date on when that comes out?
I think it's April.
Okay,
yeah,
so right
I think
around the corner.
Yeah, it's like the end of April or early May. I can't remember what the trailer said, but it's soon.
Cool. Oh wait, May 7th. I see it right here.
Yeah.
Cool.
So we got like a month.
Yeah, that's good, dude. We've had some good stuff come out lately. I mean, Godzilla versus Kong. We got pushed back on Mortal Kombat, so it's a couple more weeks for that, and then Jupiter's Legacy coming out, and then Black Widow. So we're getting back into things, man. Things are coming back out. This should be good. This should be really good.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. And I know this wasn't on our list, but I actually just saw this today. There's a rumor going around that they're doing a Deadpool animated show or series, and they want to have Ryan Reynolds as the voice actor in that.
For what channel, or where would it come out on?
I don't know. It'll be on Disney Plus or maybe on like Hulu because it's more of a mature FX, like an FX thing. But I just read that they possibly want to do that instead. Obviously they're still going to do Deadpool 3, but maybe do like a 10 episode thing. And I'm sure Ryan Reynolds would 100% want to voice that.
Yeah.
That's just something that he cannot, get away from.
Right. That'd be cool. I mean, it's probably coming off the success of like the Harley Quinn one also. The Harley Quinn show and stuff, but it would be weird if it wasn't, adult at this point after seeing the Deadpool stuff. So, but cool. Mm-hmm. So next up, we're going to talk about Falcon and Winter Soldier. So as we're saying, if you don't have Disney Plus, you're missing out. So we had the first 3 episodes of Falcon and Winter Soldier, follow up to WandaVision in terms of these live action Disney Plus shows, and definitely a different feel than the WandaVision show. So let's talk about our thoughts, but let's kind of narrow them down. Let's talk about overall, and then we'll get into like the nitty gritty. So what have you thought overall of the first 3 episodes?
All right. This is where the listeners are going to turn off the show.
Is this going to get good?
Oh, all right. So I watched the first episode, and I get it. They brought it into right after the blip. Mm-hmm. I really like Bucky. I think he's a great character, and I've been wanting to see this show for so long. First episode kind of was obviously it built something where these characters have been after Endgame. It was slow. The second episode was better because of course you have John Walker in there and you have a lot more action. But the thing that really bothers me about episode 2, and it like really pissed me off, is so in the trailer where Bucky and Sam they say, oh, the big 3. Yeah. Whatever it is, cyborgs, aliens, and wizards or sorcerers. So you saw it in the trailer, you knew it was coming, and I knew it was coming in the episode. And I'm like, it's fine. I can play out the entire episode or scene of that part. But then what really pissed me off is that they use the same exact quote. John Walker does this same exact line to them at the end. He's like, it's got to be one of the big 3. And I literally threw my hands up and I'm like, yo, that's terrible writing that they had to reuse the same joke. Like that bothered me so much that I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
That's so weird.
And then third episode, really pulls it together. Again, if you're not listening, please, or you haven't watched it, skip over this section because this is where there's even more spoilers. So we finally get somewhere. But we knew these characters were coming. We knew Baron Zemo was coming because of the trailer. We knew Sharon Carter was coming back because of the trailer. But then we had Io from Black Panther, which was definitely something to see. But another thing that bothers me, and someone talked about this last week on some YouTube channel, and I'm not even going to name names, is Baron Zemo dancing in the club. It's sad. I'm sorry.
It's been a hit though.
I don't care. I don't care that it's a hit. I don't care. Marvel did like a loop video today. I saw it on Instagram. I'm sorry. It's after watching Justice League and being a serious movie, and then seeing Baron Zemo as like a villain, like him being like charismatic and kind of funny, like it bothered me. Yeah, like again, these are longer episodes than WandaVision. I'm really hoping the next 3 are awesome. I'll tell you the flip side. The chick from who played in Infamous Nest in the Solo movie, I think she's awesome. I think the Flag Smashers are great. I think the action's great. I don't know. I'm just not sold on it, and it's 3 episodes left. So I'm sorry, everybody that thinks I'm just a DC guy, and I know because I said Justice League, but I really wanted to like it. We talked about this episodes ago. I really, really wanted to like this show, and I'm just like, I feel like it's the same thing with WandaVision. It was like boring in the beginning, and then it like ramped up towards the end. So
yeah. Okay,
so what do you think about it? Come on, go ahead.
So my thoughts are going to be, oh man, mine might be a little inflammatory here. Might set some people off, but you know what? This is the times we live in right now. So same thing. I really want this show. I'm actually enjoying the show. I am. My biggest issues with the show so far is I'm not really feeling the buddy cop between Falcon and Winter Soldier. I feel like it's there, but it seems a little forced at times. It doesn't seem supernatural. It doesn't seem very natural. That's what I should mean. It doesn't seem very natural. The whole like they're friends, but they're not friends. I don't know. It irks me a little bit. It hasn't flown. It doesn't flow perfectly the way I thought it was going to, and I wanted it to. My other issue with this right now is, and this is, man, I'm sorry, I got to do this, but I'm trying not to get political here, but I don't like the racial tones in this show. And I feel like in the times we live in right now, where race has become such a big deal, and everyone's talking about racial divisions and racial disparities and everything in the United States, and then to have TV shows like this that like emphasize these points, I don't think that helps us as a community. Like there's scenes where, I can't remember the exact line. Sam's talking to his sister about going to the bank or whatever, and talk to him. And he makes a comment like, "Oh, I'm not going to let those white people get over on me." That's not cool, man. Like you can't say stuff like that. Like you can't reverse it and have Bucky make a comment like that about African Americans. That shit doesn't fly, dude. And it's just perpetuating this like race issue. Then the scene where they're outside Isaiah Bradley's house, and the cops are there, and then it's like, oh, put your hands up, you're a black guy in this community or whatever. So once again, you're perpetuating this belief that all cops are bad guys, that all cops are racist and stuff like that. So I don't appreciate these themes, and I don't appreciate them being put out on Disney and Marvel, which is like being eaten up by children and the community at large. So all you're doing is perpetuating these things. I don't feel like these are the solutions for the problems in our country right now. I feel like
it was very odd. And I don't like to get into this either, but I thought it was a very odd way to get Bucky arrested. Like that was the setup. Like the setup was to have this black male, white male, like argue on the street, and then all of a sudden the cops come, and them like saying, "Oh, show me your license." I don't have to show you my license. Show me a license. And then all of a sudden it was just like, well, you're not under arrest. Oh, because you're Sam Wilson, you're the Falcon. But then all of a sudden it was like, well, he's under arrest because he missed his court appointed therapist section. Like that's how we're gonna play the scenario out. And I'm just like, come on.
And I'm not trying to get political. You and I are both about the same politically. We don't like to get into this stuff, but it has to be like when you put this out here though, I feel like no one else is going to talk about this. I guarantee anyone listening to this podcast, watch any YouTube channel, and I guarantee you they won't talk about this aspect of this show. But this show puts the politics out there, so it has to be spoken about. So I'm not crazy about that aspect. Now, let's move past that. Let's get into some of the good shit. Episode 3, fucking awesome. I love the Baron Zemo stuff. I'm so glad he's back. He's such a great character that did not get his just deserves in the previous showing we had of him in Civil War. Let's just say it went from 6 to midnight over at my house when Madripoor got mentioned, because that is a massive X-Men shout out, dude. So at first I was like, holy shit, they just said Madripoor. And now I know everyone kind of visits Madripoor, but in Marvel Comics, no one is more associated with Madripoor than the X-Men. And no one's more associated with Madripoor than Wolverine. So then when they're walking through Lowtown and you see the sign for the Princess Bar, oh my God, I about lost it again, dude. I mean, that's where Patch hangs out. That's where Wolverine's at. He's chilling in fucking Madripoor. He might be in that bar right now with Bucky and Falcon walking the streets of Madripoor. I thought that was awesome, dude.
Did we see Omega Red? I know he was supposed to be in that
didn't
episode.
see him, didn't we? WandaVision spec back at it again. So,
Mephisto. I saw some red in some of these episodes. I
sell
thought
those
Mephisto was
Omega
coming.
Red books quick. No, I loved it. I liked that stuff. I liked Sharon Carter's character. Wasn't crazy about her coming back. Granted, she's obviously kind of been treated like shit. And like, did she blip? I don't think she blipped, right? Because she said she's kind of been like on the run for a while. And
I can't recall what she said. She was great in Winter Soldier. But
great.
yeah, I agree that
she got done dirty by the government.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
I think she has a bigger role to play. Like I really don't think she's with them per se. Like I understand like he's trying to get her, he's going to get her all the stuff dropped, but I really think that she has a bigger role to play in Madripoor and on the other side with the Flag Smashers. Yeah,
I'm hoping she doesn't end up being like a bad guy. I'd like to see her come back to being a good guy. You're right though. The Flag Smashers are great. They've been a very kind of like a villain that you can, understand, which Marvel does great about. Like, go back and watch Infinity War. Thanos, you're kind of like, hey man, like you're kind of crazy, but I get what you're saying. You know what I mean? Like, I get what you're saying. Like, we're kind of fucking shit up out here, and half the population needs to go away. But they're good. Yeah, the actress who plays Carly Morgenthau is amazing. I'm really enjoying it. I love to see. We didn't really talk about this. I love to see a Batroc show back up. GSP show up as Batroc was cool. Joaquin Torres showing up, which possibly there's been rumors he might be, a bigger role to play as a follow-up Falcon, as we saw in the comic books.
I actually even thought I was actually having this conversation with my neighbor across the street, and it's funny that we actually were talking comics in my neighborhood. I said to him, because we were talking about the whole Isaiah Bradley thing, and I would have loved to see when Isaiah Bradley's talking and you find out like who that is. I would have liked to see him as like as a throwback or as like a flashback scene of him as a younger self fighting Bucky, even if it was like 2 minutes.
That'd have been dope.
Like just that would have been awesome. And obviously everyone's specking and picking up that Truth, the Red, White, and Blue book for his first appearance. But it would have been so dope to see him in like a costume fighting him.
Right.
Because he says it. He's like, oh, I've kicked your ass before. That would have been like, damn, that would have been awesome to watch.
Yeah. And on that note, you even got a little bit of Eli Bradley. And there's been a lot of rumors about Young Avengers. So we're seeing Patriot kind of being set up here as well. So that's lending a little bit more credence to the Young Avengers. And then the final characters I kind of want to talk about, obviously, are U.S. Agent John Walker and Battlestar. So they're not bad. It's hard to like them, but like it's also you kind of feel bad for John Walker. You know what I mean? Like he's going into it and he's trying to do these things. He's trying to be Captain America. He knows he'll never be Steve Rogers, but he's not a bad guy. You know what I mean? So you kind of feel bad for him because he's kind of a clown. But you know what? Every time, that's who U.S. Agent was in the books too. He's kind of a clown. So
nobody really liked him. I remember that growing up in the 90s and reading that stuff.
Yeah. So that's been really cool too, man. I'll be honest with you. I haven't been crazy about that we're halfway through the season and neither Bucky nor Falcon have the shield. I didn't think it was going to be that way. I thought it was going to be more of a starting off who's the next Cap. It was looking like it's going to be more into the show who's the next Cap.
So now here's the thing, because of course we've seen in the trailers where Sam throws the shield and like goes into the tree. And this is my knowledge of not reading a lot of Sam Wilson when he became Cap. Did he ever get the super serum? Like, does he ever get that? Or is that even like a tease? Like he's going to get something to get a little bit more stronger?
I don't want to speak out of turn on that because
Okay.
I've never been a big Falcon fan, and when he became Cap, I wasn't really reading those storylines. I know that he became like he definitely got powered up a little bit. Falcon did at one point in the comics.
Because he took over because so I can't think of the character's name, but he took the super serum out of Steve.
Right. When Steve became like a head of Shield for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then he took over as Winter Soldier. And he was like the all new, all different Marvel. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I don't want to speak out of turn on that and get ripped apart in the comment section.
I just because I thought about that. I'm like, well, how? I mean, granted, yeah, I'm sure if you threw the Captain America shield, I'm sure it's going to if you throw it at the tree, it'll get stuck in the tree. Unlike where you see him training and he throws it and it's like bouncing off of things because I guess he's got almost like mattresses or pillows are like on the trees.
Well,
but
I'm
just curious.
Throwing it too. Like,
yeah, I know that's what I'm saying.
He's crazy. Like, does he have speed? Strength. They never really said anything about that. So,
yeah, I think he just trained very, very hard to get there.
He's just a buff dude.
Yeah.
So I've liked it so far, man. I'm loving it now that Baron Zemo's in it. That's really the kind of thing I was like most looking forward to. I think I'm hoping for a Thunderbolt setup. Can't wait for Omega Red to show up. And
oh man, I can't. I got 3 copies. I'm trying to sell them. So
well, cool. Let's get into our final segment of what we're currently reading. So in this segment, we always talk about like a book, whether it's new or maybe if we're picking up past. You might hear me say next week talking about Jupiter's Legacy, but what we're actually reading currently right now that we want to talk about. So you want to go first, Justin?
Yeah. So this one is a newer book. This is from Aftershock Studios, which Aftershock Studios is actually pretty good. If you guys don't know, they're a low print run book. They only have a couple titles out a month. It's very short. Like there's only about 4 or 5 titles out. But this week's book that I'll be talking about is Nuclear Family. They just released issue 2 last week, and I'm a big Fallout fan. I'm big that post-apocalyptic world where like if something happens, like some, atomic bomb drops or whatever. So Nuclear Family just came out from Stephanie Phillips. So of course, what it is, it's America 1957. Of course, you have the McClanes. Tim McClane is the main household member with his husband, his wife, and he's got 2 kids, boy and a girl. And the bombs drop in Minnesota somewhere, and they go down to their bunker. And the next thing they know, they come out. And all of a sudden, they're considered commies because the world is currently fighting with the Russians. And then it ends up with them considering themselves traitors because their house is somehow untouched. And then we go into issue 2, where you get a little bit more of a backstory of what's going on in the world of the United States from this bomb dropping. And then there's a huge spoiler that I just cannot give away, but I definitely think that everybody out there can go out and pick up issues 1 and 2. Like I said, they just came out. I think it's only going to be a 5-issue miniseries unless it gets, good reviews, and then it does like a continuation, because I feel like that's a lot of stories right now. You always hear about these books that come out and it's like 1 of 5, 2 of 5. Like I remember when Once and Future was 1 of 5 and Something That's Killing the Children was 1 of 5, but then all of a sudden they just got such a great following that it just continued. So I'm absolutely loving Nuclear Winter. Like I said, I'm a big Fallout fan.
Nuclear Family, right?
Nuclear Family. I'm a big fan of all that new Fallout stuff. Love the game. So this is perfect, right up my alley. And it's something different. It's not superheroes, and it's something indie that I like reading. So I don't know. Have you checked this out at all yet?
No, and I feel like I've heard you talk about it before, but I'll have to put that on my list as well.
Yeah.
I don't get my shop's not great with independent titles. So if I don't know about it ahead of time and order it ahead of time, there's a good chance I'm not going to get it. So,
what do you got this week?
So I got 2 books, and I'm not going to talk too long on either one of them, but and I think I talked about issue 1 first, but Radiant Black issue 2 came out a couple weeks ago by Kyle Higgins, and I'm actually really liking it, dude. I think it's good. It's kind of a superhero type book. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Now, is there anything that's like, breaking the mold here? No, not really, but I like it, and I think you guys should pick it up. I don't want to tell too much about it. There's not a lot to like think of. Exo Manowar, possibly like a guy gets a suit and he has powers. Boom. There you go. That's a nutshell, but check it out. It's really cool. The other issue I do want to talk about is X-Men number 19, which probably shouldn't surprise you. but mainly because, I did a Mutant Monday on this as well about X-23, Darwin and Sync kind of being in the Children of the Vault. And in this issue, we actually get their story, and it's Hickman, wild, back and forth dialogue, pages with writing that you have to read. It's like reading a young A novel here, but it was cool. I really like the story. There's kind of like some love interest going on between Sync and X-23, and you kind of go through all their stuff. And so we still don't know the end of this story yet. I think there's a lot more to be had here, but it was cool. I breezed through it. This is the issue I was most excited for. I think this came out 2 weeks ago, and I was bummed that I was out of town, so I had to wait 2 weeks to read it, but really cool. And then, since I'm talking short, I'm looking at another book I just finished. Suicide Squad is pretty good right now.
Oh, the rebirth or reshoot.
I'm kind of surprised by it. I'm pleasantly surprised because Suicide Squad is such like it's just such a title that gets old after a while. Like, the appeal is, hey, look, there's bombs on these guys' heads. We can blow them up. Boom. But then if you go like 20 issues and it's the same damn team members, for so long, it really takes it away. But this number 2 main character is the leader is Peacemaker, which obviously DC is leaning heavy into right now. And you got Connor Kent, Superboy, the original Superboy is in it as well. There's some new characters that I don't really know, and I like it, man. Pick it up. Suicide Squad was good. Was really good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I agree with you that it does get old. I read, of course, the old 80s John Ostrander run way back in the day. That was cool, just that title. And then I feel like the next Suicide Squad run I did, which I really enjoyed, was the New 52 run, because of course Harley got on the team, and that was more of the movie, but that was even obviously before the movie came out. The Rebirth run I really wasn't a fan of, but and even isn't like Talon on there from
Talon's
Court
new,
of Owls?
in this one, so that's cool.
Yeah, and I think they're chasing down like the Teen Titans or something like that, or Young Justice.
They haven't got into that yet.
Okay, maybe that's the next one. I saw the solicitations. Yeah. That's why I'm jumping ahead. But yeah, man, I'll give it a read. I did see the covers. I thought they were cool. So I'm sure all the characters that are on the covers are interesting enough to put them in the book.
I think it leans into what we've talked about in terms of the movie with Suicide Squad. It's like you got to keep these mission based, keep them small. Whenever you try to make like the Suicide Squad like attacking these world-ending threats, it makes no sense. Like they're out of their realm. It just doesn't make any sense. Like in this one, the first 2 issues, it's really cool because it still is tied into the events in Batman, like the gassing at Arkham.
Okay.
So they're going in the first 2 issues and they're trying to rescue Talon and pull him out of Arkham to use for future missions or whatever. So it's stuff like that makes Suicide Squad great. These little like small black ops missions, you know what I mean? Like don't send them to some country that has to overthrow a government. That's ridiculous. That makes no sense. You know what I mean? Like I don't like those storylines with Suicide Squad. So, but it's cool so far. I'm sure after issue 10, it'll suck again.
Well, you'll give it up to 10 and we'll go from there. But if it makes it 10, that's the thing. But we'll figure it out. But yeah, that was a good poll. I actually will definitely check out those first 2 issues of Suicide Squad, because it is one of the books of this new relaunch that I was actually considering, because even though I'm a big Harley Quinn fan, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do the art. So I'm not even going to look at them as much as these covers or these exclusive covers are coming out. I just can't get into that series. But Suicide Squad could be another DC book that I read on a weekly basis, or monthly basis, I should say.
Well, spoiler, I mean, she's not in it.
Yeah, I know. That's why I kind of want to give it a shot, because of this new team. And like you said, Connor Kent's in it, which is interesting. And I just talked about it on last week's episode by myself. I binge watched DC's Titans, and he shows up in there. So I definitely will. I want to give that a shot.
Yeah, check it out. So cool. So that's, all we got this week. Like we said, next week we'll be probably talking about Invincible a little bit next week. So try to get caught up on those episodes so we don't spoil anything for you. As always, you know where you can find us. You can find us on our Instagram accounts, Milton the Manimal, Nemesis Prime, or the Comic-Con Podcast on Instagram. You can DM us on any one of those 3 platforms or pages. Any questions, any drama, any voice messages, please send to the Comic-Con Podcast at gmail.com. We'd love to interact with the community. Please tell us what you think. Send your hate mail to the Gmail account about me talking about politics, and I'll probably laugh at you. But whatever.
Or me saying that Falcon Winter Soldier is terrible right now after the first 3 episodes. But that's just me. Maybe it'll change. By when we do our final review, I'll be like, oh my God, that was an awesome series.
Or blast us on Instagram, and then when we respond, block us, like, typical happens with trolls. So, but yeah, interact with us. We love it, please. So that's all we got this week, and we will be back next week, of course. And thanks for tuning in.
Thanks, guys. Peace out.